Welcome back to Hollow Street, where every shadow whispers secrets and every house tells a story that makes your heart race. Tonight, we're diving deep into number 27, a place that's been sitting in eerie silence for years, its windows like vacant eyes just watching life go by. But you know what? Silence is rarely as empty as it seems. The neighbors started to notice little things at first, just tiny flickers of light in an upstairs window, or sounds that resembled furniture being dragged across the floor. At first, they brushed it off as tricks of the light or the old house just settling into its creaks and groans. But then, those whispers turned into something a bit more unsettling. Every night, without fail, the heavy oak door of number 27 would slowly swing open. Can you imagine that? It's like something out of a horror movie. Right. The local security company was called in. Not because anyone thought a break-in was happening, because, honestly, nothing was ever taken or disturbed. But the sheer predictability of that door opening was just unnerving. So, they set up a high-resolution camera. Its unblinking eye trained on that front porch, ready to capture whatever was going on. The first night's footage, it was exactly what everyone had described. At precisely 3:03 a.m., the latch clicked, and that door drifted inward, revealing nothing but the deep, dark void of the hallway beyond. It stayed open for an entire hour before swinging shut with a soft, final thud. Night after night, the same thing happened. 3:03 a.m. rolled around, and it was like clockwork: the click, the slow swing, the yawning blackness, and then the close. The security team was left scratching their heads. They checked for drafts, mechanical failures, faulty locks, anything that could explain this bizarre phenomenon. But they found nothing. It was as if an invisible hand was opening the door, a silent invitation into the unknown. The footage became a puzzling loop of silent, inexplicable motion. The security guards, a mix of seasoned veterans and jumpy rookies, would gather around the monitor, half dreading and half anticipating that 3:03 a.m. mark. It turned into a bit of a ritual for them. They started zooming in, enhancing the footage, hoping to find something, anything that could ground this supernatural event in the mundane world of logic and reason. A wire, a string, a reflection, but the more they scrutinized, the less they found. The door simply opened on its own. Creepy, right? For weeks, that was the whole story, a ghostly routine that sent shivers down their spines, but was ultimately harmless. That is, until last night. David, the head of security, had become absolutely obsessed. He spent countless hours poring over the tapes, convinced he was missing something crucial. So, he decided to try a new technique, slowing the footage down to a frame-by-frame crawl. He focused on that exact moment when the door began to open, analyzing the sliver of darkness as it widened. Frame by frame, the blackness grew, and it was tedious, a straining work. For hours, he saw nothing but deepening shadows. Just when he was about to give up, ready to chalk it up to another night of the same old mystery, he saw it. A flicker, it was almost imperceptible, a change in the texture of the darkness inside the house. His heart started to pound as he rewound the footage, advancing it again, one frame at a time. And there it was, in the inky black of the hallway. For a single, solitary frame, a shape emerged from the shadows. It was a face, pale, indistinct, and chillingly out of place. It was there for less than 1/30th of a second, a ghostly imprint on the digital canvas. David leaned closer to the screen, his breath fogging the cold glass. The face was gaunt, with wide, dark eyes that seemed to stare directly into the camera lens. It was the face of a man, his features twisted in what looked like a silent scream. But the real horror, it was the mouth. As David isolated that single, terrifying frame, he saw that the lips were moving. It wasn't a scream, it was a word. Or rather, two words. He enhanced the image, cleaning up the digital noise, sharpening the edges. The pixels coalesced, and the message became chillingly clear. The figure in the doorway, that fleeting ghost in the machine, was mouthing two words: "Help me, can you believe that?" The nightly ritual wasn't just an invitation, it was a desperate plea. A silent, repeating cry for help from whatever was trapped inside house number 27. The open door wasn't beckoning them in, it was showing them the prisoner within. David felt a cold dread wash over him. This changed everything. This wasn't just a spooky phenomenon anymore, it was a potential crisis. Who was this person? A squatter, a captive, a ghost. The lines blurred, and the possibilities were all terrifying. He immediately called the police, his voice trembling as he tried to explain what he'd found. A single frame of footage, a ghostly face, a silent plea. It sounded insane, and he knew it. The police were skeptical, but the nightly consistency of the door opening was a documented fact. They agreed to do a wellness check, more to appease the rattled security chief than out of any real belief in his ghost story. As to officers, hardened and practical, made their way to Hollow Street, David couldn't shake the image from his mind. The desperation in those digital eyes felt real, tangible. He watched on the live feed as the police car pulled up to number 27. The house looked just as it always did, dark and imposing under the street lights. The officers approached the front door, the very door that had been the star of this nightly horror show. They knocked. There was no answer. They knocked again, louder this time, their calls echoing in the quiet street. Still, only silence. Following procedure, they used a master key provided by the property management company and opened the door. From his monitor, David watched as their flashlight beams cut through the interior darkness. The entryway was thick with dust. Cobwebs hung like tattered curtains from the ceiling. The air, even through the tinny speaker of his monitor, felt heavy and stale. It was clear no one had lived there for a very, very long time. The officers did a thorough sweep of the house, their voices a calm, professional murmur as they cleared room after empty room. The furniture was all draped in white sheets, creating a landscape of pale, lumpy ghosts. But there was no one there, no squatter, no captive, no one. The house was utterly, completely empty. The police filed their report, unfounded. A likely electrical or mechanical fault with the door. They recommended a locksmith. David was left staring at his screen. The chilling frame of the face burned into his retinas. The police had found nothing, but he knew what he saw. The plea was real. The house was empty, yet it felt occupied. The open door wasn't a glitch, it was a signal. And the most terrifying part was the realization that whatever was inside house number 27, whatever had mouthed those desperate words, was still there. Still trapped, still waiting for someone to see, to listen, and to help. And every night, at 3:03 a.m., it would try again, opening the door in a silent, eternal plea. David couldn't shake the feeling that he was missing something. What if this wasn't just about a ghost? What if there was something more sinister at play? He started digging into the history of number 27, searching for clues that could explain the mystery. He learned that the house had been built in the late 1800s, a time when families were large, and life was often harsh. The original owners had a reputation for being reclusive, and there were whispers of tragedies that had befallen them. Accidents, illnesses, and even whispers of madness. As he pieced together the past, David found stories of a man named Arthur, the last resident of number 27. Arthur was known to have been a kind soul, but he fell into despair after losing his family in a tragic accident. Neighbors recalled seeing him standing at the window, staring out into the street, lost in his thoughts. They said he had a way of making you feel like you were the only person in the world when he spoke to you, but that warmth faded over time as his grief consumed him. Eventually, he became a ghost in his own home, a prisoner of his sorrow. Could it be that Arthur was the one reaching out? Was his spirit trapped in that house, crying out for help? David felt a chill run down his spine as he considered this possibility. It wasn't just a ghostly figure anymore. It was a story of loss, of longing, and of the human condition. The more he thought about it, the more determined he became to uncover the truth. He returned to the house, standing outside number 27, feeling the weight of its history pressing down on him. The door loomed before him, and for a moment, he hesitated. What if he opened that door? What if he stepped inside and faced whatever was lurking in the darkness? Taking a deep breath, he pushed the door open, and it creaked eerily, just like it had on those fateful nights. The darkness inside felt thick and oppressive, wrapping around him like a heavy blanket. He stepped over the threshold, flashlight in hand, illuminating the dust-covered furniture and the cobwebs that clung to the corners.